In most places in the world, having a massive physique is a sign of health, discipline, or perhaps a bit of vanity. You see a guy at the local gym with arms the size of tree trunks and a chest that could stop a truck, and you might think he is a professional athlete or a dedicated bodybuilder. But the moment those same muscles walk through the gates of a maximum security prison, the entire context changes. A muscular frame isn't just about looking good in a tank top. It is a biological suit of armor, a psychological weapon, and a walking billboard that sends a very specific message to every inmate and guard on the block. Today we are going deep into the reality of the prison yard to answer a question many people wonder about, but few truly understand. How are the extremely muscular prisoners actually viewed by their peers and the staff? Is being the biggest guy in the room a golden ticket to respect, or does it put a massive pulsating target on your back? To understand the dynamic, you first have to understand the currency of the prison environment. In the outside world, currency is money. In prison, currency is respect, and the foundational layer of that respect is physical capability. From the second a new inmate, or a fish, steps onto the yard, everyone is sizing them up. Ripped abs and a thick neck, he has already bypassed the first level of harassment. Why? Because predatory inmates are generally looking for easy targets. They are looking for victims who appear weak, timid, or physically incapable of defending themselves. A muscular physique acts as a visual no trespassing sign. It tells the population that this person has the discipline to train and the raw strength to make any confrontation extremely difficult. However, there is a very fine line between being respected and being challenged. Being the biggest guy often draws the attention of the engineers of the yard, the guys who have been there for 20 years and have seen it all. They want to know if those muscles are show muscles or go muscles. You see, there is a legendary distinction in prison culture between someone who looks like a bodybuilder and someone who has convict strength. Show muscles are built for aesthetics, often using supplements and fancy gym equipment that isn't available in most modern prisons. Go muscles are built through thousands of burpees, pull-ups on the bars of a cell, and lifting heavy water bags. If a prisoner looks too much like a fitness model, they might actually be viewed with a bit of suspicion or even mockery. The veterans want to see if that massive frame can actually endure the grind of a real conflict. Let's talk about the psychological impact on the guards. And they react to physical presence just like anyone else. When a prisoner is extremely muscular, the staff views them through a lens of potential risk. In any tactical situation, the guards have to consider the force multiplier. A 250-pound man with low body fat and high explosive power is a significant force multiplier. This often means that muscular prisoners are watched more closely. The biggest guys are the first ones the response teams focus on, regardless of whether they started the fight or not. Their very existence is seen as a potential breach of the facility's control. But here's where it gets interesting. The bodyguard economy. In many prison social structures, the most muscular guys end up becoming the unofficial security for the high-ranking members of various groups. If you are a person of influence, perhaps because of your connections or your access to commissary, you want the most imposing physical presence standing next to you. Being extremely muscular can actually lead to a relatively comfortable life if you play your cards right. You might get extra food, better access to the phone, or prime real estate in the dormitories simply by acting as the deterrent. In this role, the muscular prisoner isn't a leader. He is the enforcer. He is viewed as a valuable asset, a human shield that keeps the peace through the sheer threat of his presence. Now you might be wondering, how do they even get that big in prison? This is one of the most common questions. In the 1990s, many prisons removed free weights because they were worried that inmates were becoming too strong for the guards to handle. Yet, if you look at footage from modern yards today, you still see guys who look like they could compete in Mr. Olympia. The answer lies in the incredible ingenuity of the human spirit when it is confined. Without weights, prisoners turn to calisthenics, but not just high reps. We are talking about weighted pull-ups, where another inmate hangs onto their waist. We are talking about the deck of cards workout, where you do hundreds of push-ups based on the suit and number of the card drawn, day after day for years. The view of these muscular prisoners is also shaped by their source of fuel. Protein is like gold. If an inmate is maintaining a massive amount of muscle, everyone knows he is either very successful at trading in the commissary, or he has a powerful team supporting him. You cannot maintain 240 pounds of lean muscle on standard prison trays alone. It means they have the resources to buy extra tuna, mackerel, and peanut butter. Being muscular is a physical manifestation of your bank account or your social influence. It's a sign that you are a consumer in a world of scavengers. However, being highly muscular can also lead to intense loneliness and isolation. Other inmates might be too intimidated to approach them for normal conversation. They are often kept at a distance, viewed more as a tank or an obstacle than as a person. There is also a level of testing that happens. Occasionally, a younger, smaller inmate looking to make a name for themselves might pick a fight with the biggest guy on the yard. It's the classic David and Goliath syndrome. If the small guy even manages to land a single punch or stand his ground for a minute, his status skyrockets. For the muscular prisoner, these fights are a lose-lose situation. If they win, they were expected to. They lose their entire aura of invincibility. There's a specific cultural view of the iron pile. In the prisons that still have outdoor weight pits, the area is often segregated by groups or gangs. The guys who spend 4 hours a day on the iron are viewed as the soldiers. Their job is to be the ultimate physical representation of their group's strength. When two groups are having a dispute, they don't always jump straight into a conflict, essentially doing a pose down of intimidation. In these moments, these men are viewed with a high degree of pride by their peers. They are the front line, the physical wall that protects the interests of their people. What about the age factor? In prison, as men get older, it becomes harder to maintain that mass. An older, muscular inmate is viewed with a special kind of reverence. It shows that he hasn't given up. It shows a lifetime of dedication to the convict code of self-improvement and readiness. Younger inmates often look up to these veterans, asking for advice on training and prison recipes for muscle growth. In this way, the muscular frame becomes a bridge between generations, a way for older men to mentor the youth through the discipline of the body. The view from the outside also matters. A muscular prisoner often wants to look as healthy as possible to reassure their loved ones. If they come to the visiting room looking thin and haggard, it sends a signal that they are struggling or being victimized. By showing up with 50 pounds of added muscle, they are telling their family, "I am okay. I am strong. No one is bothering me." It's a silent message of reassurance. However, the guards might see this same transformation as a sign that the inmate is preparing for trouble. It's all about the perspective of the observer. There is also a dark side to how these men are viewed, specifically regarding the search for supplements. Because traditional protein powder is often banned, inmates go to extreme lengths to find alternatives. When a muscular prisoner is caught with items they shouldn't have, like stolen meat from the kitchen or extra vitamins, the population views them as hustlers. They are seen as people who are willing to break the rules not for drugs or cell phones, but for the religion of the iron. This earns them a unique kind of respect from other inmates who value discipline over hedonism. They aren't viewed as junkies. They are viewed as warriors who are obsessed with their own development. In the legal world, a prisoner's muscle can actually be a disadvantage. During parole hearings or court appearances, a judge might look at a man who has clearly spent his entire sentence becoming a physical powerhouse and feel a sense of unease. They might see a man who is preparing for a conflict rather than a man who is rehabilitating. The muscular prisoner is often viewed as more dangerous or unpredictable by the parole board, simply because of the physical potential they carry. It's a paradox. The same thing that keeps them safe on the inside might keep them locked up longer. Let's look at the social influence of the gym. The gym area, or the pull-up bars, are the social clubs of the prison. The most muscular guys are the presidents of these clubs. They set the tone for the yard. If the big guys are calm and focused on their workout, the yard tends to be quiet. If the big guys are aggressive and huffing and puffing, the tension levels for everyone else go through the roof. The population views the muscular inmates as a sort of barometer for the prison's atmosphere. You watch the big guys to know what kind of day it's going to be. There's also a misconception that all muscular prisoners are bullies. Many of the biggest guys are the most soft-spoken. This is because they don't have anything to prove. However, this gentleness is always understood to be a choice. The respect they receive is rooted in the knowledge that they could be terrifying if they chose to be. But they choose to be disciplined instead. This controlled power is the ultimate form of status in a confined environment. What about the target? In high-security facilities, there is a phenomenon where people want to see if the big man can bleed. This isn't about the big guy being a bully. It's about the achievement of the attacker. For some, catching a massive inmate off guard is the fastest way to gain notoriety. Because of this, extremely muscular prisoners are often very back-to-the-wall oriented. They are viewed as being on permanent guard. You rarely see a truly massive inmate sitting in the middle of a room with their back to the door. They are constantly scanning, constantly aware. The population views this as professionalism. It means the big guy knows his value and he knows the risks. We also have to talk about the body as a map. In prison, muscles are often covered in ink. The combination of a massive physique and prison ink tells a story of the man's journey. The population reads these tattoos to understand where the man has been, what he has done, and what he stands for. A muscular arm with a specific set of symbols is viewed very differently than a muscular arm with no tattoos at all. The former is a labeled threat, while the latter is an unknown variable. Unknown variables are often handled with even more caution. In female prisons, the dynamic is slightly different but follows a similar logic. While the extreme bodybuilding look is less common, physical strength and toughness are still the primary markers of status. A woman who is physically imposing and carries herself with a gym-honed confidence is viewed as a protector or a leader. The muscle here is less about raw mass and more about readiness. The population views these women as the anchors of their social circles. Back in the men's facilities, there is a legendary status for the cell block trainer. This is a muscular inmate who takes a younger, weaker kid under his wing and transforms them. This is viewed by the staff as a positive thing, rehabilitation through fitness. But it's also viewed by the other inmates as building a crew. Every muscular guy who trains a protege is essentially building a small army. Disciplined and physically capable, you don't mess with one member, because you'll have to deal with the master and the rest of the students. The dietary hacks of these men are the stuff of prison legend. Have you heard about prison cheesecake or prison swole shakes? They might take the syrup from canned fruit, mix it with stolen powdered milk and a bit of peanut butter, and consume it immediately after a workout. The rest of the inmates view these scientists with a mix of amusement and respect. They are the ones who have mastered the system within the system. They are viewed as being smarter than they look. They understand biology and nutrition in a place where those things are intentionally neglected. Wait, what happens when the big guy gets sick or injured? When a muscular prisoner loses weight due to illness or a stint in the hole, solitary confinement, the population watches closely. This is where their social capital is tested. If they have been a fair and respected member of the yard, people will look out for them while they recover. If they have been a bully, their decline is viewed as a celebration. The muscular frame is a billboard of your current power, but the foundation is your character. When the billboard is gone, only the foundation remains. There's also an interesting view regarding natural versus unnatural. Even in prison, there are enhancements. While almost impossible to get, sometimes performance boosters find their way inside. An inmate who gets too big, too fast is viewed with extreme suspicion. The population knows it's not honest work. There is a deep, underlying respect for the natural lifter who has spent 15 years on the yard building their body. They are the true believers. The guys who use shortcuts are viewed as frauds who won't be able to maintain their strength if the supply line is cut. Let's think about the intimidation factor. During the count, 3 times a day, or more, inmates have to stand by their bunks to be counted. When a guard walks into a small cell shared by 2 massive men, there is an undeniable tension. The guards are trained not to show it, but the power dynamic shift is obvious. The muscular prisoners are viewed by the administration as a management problem. They require more headroom, figuratively speaking. They aren't just inmates, they are units of resistance. However, we should also consider the model prisoner archetype. Many of the most muscular men in prison are incredibly well behaved. Why? Because they don't want to lose their privileges. Training is their therapy. It is the only thing that keeps them sane. If they get into trouble and are sent to segregation where they can't train, they lose their muscles and their mental health. Consequently, they are often viewed by the administration as the most stable elements of the yard. They have a routine. They have a goal. They are staying in their lane. The other inmates view this as doing your time the right way. The respect of the iron transcends racial and gang lines. You will often see guys who wouldn't normally talk to each other sharing a set of dips or a pull-up bar. The pursuit of physical excellence is a universal language. In these moments, the muscular prisoners are viewed as transcendent. They are beyond the petty politics of the yard, at least for the hour they are training. This gives them a neutral status that can be very beneficial for staying out of trouble. They are citizens of the gym, before they are members of any group. What about the economic view? In many facilities, the most muscular guys are the ones who get the power jobs. Move the industrial kitchen crates or work in the furniture shop. These jobs come with perks, extra food, better movement permissions, or industrial strength cleaning supplies that can be traded. The population views the big guys as the blue-collar elite. They are the workhorses of the prison, and everybody knows that the facility would stop running without their muscle. As we look at the culture of physicality in prison, we have to address the mirror effect. In a world where you have nothing else, your body is the only thing you own. These men are viewed as people who have taken total ownership of themselves. In an environment that is designed to dehumanize and demoralize, a man who builds a massive, powerful body is committing an act of rebellion. He is saying, "You can lock me in this cage, but you cannot make me weak." This spirit of defiance is deeply respected by every person behind the wire, from the guy in the cell next door to the warden in the front office. But let's not romanticize it too much. Being the big guy also means being the guy who can't hide. If there is a riot, or a search, or a takedown, everyone knows where you are. You don't blend into the crowd. You are a high-visibility asset. This means that extremely muscular prisoners have to be more careful about their associations. They are viewed as representatives. If a big guy does something stupid, it reflects on his whole group much more than if a small, invisible guy did it. The population expects more discipline from the big guys. There's also the mythology of the prison strongman. You hear stories of guys who could bench press 400 pounds with nothing but a bed frame and some water jugs. Whether these stories are true or not, the population loves to tell them. It contributes to a sense of legend on the yard. A truly massive inmate is viewed as a living legend, a person who has conquered the environment. They are like the tall tales of the frontier, but in a world of cinder blocks. And finally, we have the release day view. When a man who has spent 10 years becoming a physical giant finally walks out that gate, he is viewed with a mix of envy and hope by those left behind. They see him as a product that the prison couldn't break. They wonder if he will use that strength for good or if he will be back. But as he walks away, his muscles rippling under a civilian shirt that is 3 sizes too small, he leaves behind a legacy of iron and sweat that will be talked about on the yard for months. In conclusion, being extremely muscular in prison is a complex, high-stakes game of image versus reality. It provides a shield against predation, a pathway to social status, and a source of personal discipline. But it also creates a target for extortionists, a management risk for the staff, and an isolation factor from the general population. These men are viewed as armored cars in a world of compact sedans, valuable, imposing, but always monitored. The next time you see a before and after photo of a prisoner who has gained 50 pounds of muscle, don't just think about the push-ups they did. Think about the hidden costs of that muscle. Think about the trades they made in the cafeteria, the battles they avoided through intimidation, and the mental fortress they built alongside their physical one. In the world of prison, a muscle is never just a muscle. It's a story, a weapon, and a prayer for survival. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the psychology of the iron behind bars. The world of prison is a distorted mirror of our own society, where the things we value are amplified, and the things we fear are magnified. The alpha on the yard is a product of his environment, and his muscles are the map of his journey through the system. Keep your eyes open for the truth behind the image. And remember that in a place where everything is taken away, the body becomes the ultimate last stand. The iron never lies. And in the yard, the big man is the one who bears the heaviest weight, both physically and socially. Whether he is a leader, an enforcer, or a gentle giant, his presence defines the landscape. As long as there are bars and fences, there will be men striving to break the mold of their confinement through the discipline of the body. And as long as they do, the rest of the world will continue to watch, wonder, and try to understand the true power of the muscular prisoner. Stay informed, stay curious, And always look for the story that the muscles are trying to tell. The iron is hot, and the story is just beginning.